Hey there everybody, Coach Brandon here. Today we're going to be starting a new chapter, half guard passing. Passing from the half guard is one of the best, strongest ways to pass the guard, where I get past my opponent's feet and knees. I get up to and I control their head and shoulders with a strong cross face, and then we can work on extracting our knee and our ankle from there. So there's a lot of different steps in passing half guard, and we're going to be looking at those all month long. But we're going to start off with the first important step of half guard passing, which is being able to actually force the half guard. Being able to get past your opponent's feet, getting past the knees, and covering the hips in a strong half guard position. Then from there we'll pick up later on how we go through and launch controlling the head and shoulders and extracting the knee and all that. But first let's focus on just how do we force the half guard. Now the half guard position is a bit of a paradox. It is both a great sweeping position for the bottom person, and it's a great passing position for the top person, based upon if I can get control of my opponent's head and shoulders. So when I get into half guard, I don't want to get into it in a way where I come into half guard, but Ant still has frames in my way, and I can't actually get down and get chest to chest. When I force half guard, I want to try to force it in a way where I can get in real tight to the hips, and then eventually I'll come up and control the head and shoulders, and we'll look at this later. But I want to be able to get down chest to chest, okay? So let's start looking at some of our favorite methods for forcing the half guard. One of our first methods is using a split squat, one of our favorite guard passing positions. Hopefully you remember it. Let's put your head a little bit, scoot your head so you're up again. There we go. So I'm coming into my split squat, right? I come in pointing the feet away. I step to the inside position, I control the pocket of the hip, and I come down. Now as Ant puts up his frames, maybe I'm struggling to get through the split squat. In order to get to half guard, one of the big key things that we need to do is get our knee over Ant's knee. Okay. Ant's knee is here. If I can get my knee up and over his knee, and then into the pocket of the hip, that's how I'm going to force half guard. So first we come into split squat. Trying to come in and it's not working. I'm trying to drive in and his frames are keeping me off. So what I'm going to do from here, let's rotate just a bit. What I'm going to do from here is I'm going to start to come up to the standing position. I'm going to start to take my knee in over his knee and bring my knee into the pocket of his hip. And as I do this, my right knee also goes to the floor, and I come down and I cover the hips just like this. So you'll see I've got one of Ant's legs pinned between my legs here. This leg, I'm going to shut out between my right arm and my right leg. I like to connect my knee and my elbow together here. And I'm really just covering his hips. I'm covering the legs and hips here. Okay? And that's the first step of half guard passing, is just forcing half guard and getting to this position here. From here, we'll talk later on about how to stabilize this position, but this is generally where we're working toward right now, okay? So we've done this using a split squat. We can also force the half guard by pinning a knee to the mat or using an inside knee post. So, Ant's playing guard. Another thing I can come in is I step in, I go to the pocket of the hip, and I post on the inside of the knee. Now as I come around, I'm going to pin Ant's knee to the floor, and I'm going to use my right elbow to try to keep Ant's knee shield out. My right elbow, as Ant tries to bring in his left knee, controls. And now I can just step over the leg, coming in, and we have our half guard. So again, now is pinning a knee to the mat. I come in, my hands go into place. One hand into the pocket of the hip, the other to the inside of the knee. I pin a knee to the floor, I step through, and we've forced ourselves into the half guard position. Okay, so using that inside knee post can also work very well. Some other methods we have to get into the half guard is one is the inside knee position. And we actually looked at this earlier when we were passing open guard when we went over the shoulder line by passing over the shoulder line. So I'll show it there, and I'll show it some other ways too. Last week we looked at passing over the shoulder line. Here. I come around, he points his feet at me, I pin the feet, I step across to the inside knee position where I'm driving my knee on his knee right here. Now as Ant tries to correct himself and he brings his leg up and he tries to turn and face me, I can take my left knee to the floor over his knee. Keep coming over with this leg. My knee goes to the floor, and I can force myself into the half guard position. And that was using the inside knee position. I can do this from just stepping in to the inside here. If I connect to his head through a lapel grip, and now as he tries to hold off on guard, I use my knee to pressure into his knee, lifting, and we start to stack him here. Now as he fights me, he tries to pummel his foot back off, he comes around, I take my knee to the floor over his knee, and now we're back into the half guard position, ready to pass from the half guard. So that was another way to get through Ant's feet, to get through his knees, and get to the half guard position. Using an inside knee position. All right, now we're going to look at how to set up the half guard using all of our favorite guard passes that we studied in passing open guard. Almost all the guard passes we used can be used as a method to get through the open guard and force the half guard. For instance, double under pass. From here, I point Ant's feet up and away. I come down, getting my shoulder to the hamstring. Now, as I stack, maybe Ant frames on my hips over here. He's framing against my shoulder, my hips. I'm trying to stack and it's not working. Ant starts to come around wide with his the other leg. Starts, just like so. He's going to catch maybe hook underneath my leg, so I can't pass. But from here, I can post on the knee, step over, pummel my right arm to the inside, and I can force half guard out of a double under pass. You can do this out of an over under pass. I step in, I go over under. Now from here, I let my hips walk over, they capture the knee. Now I walk his leg back to the center line. When I go to keep my right leg back, he can connect his ankles, cross his ankles, and I can't free my right leg. But now all I need to do is take my right hand out from under his leg and go over. And I've once again forced the half guard position. We can do it with a knee cut. We already saw that using a split squat. If I try to come in with a knee cut and Ant frames, I can just pin this knee, cover it, and I can force my way into the half guard position. Some other ones, long step. Maybe I come in, I'm hitting frames, I control the head, I go long stepping. Now as I try to long step, Ant traps this leg. I'm trying to long step, it's not working. So I can come back up, my left knee goes past his knee, and we come up and we force our way into the half guard position. Smash passes and leg drag passes. Let's say I step to the inside. I go with a smash pass. Now as I'm trying to smash pass, Ant might take his right leg and just explosively straighten it so I can't pin it down. Yes, and he's gonna kick it all the way through, underneath my leg, boom. And he starts to free that leg. But now as you guys can see, if I can take my knee over his knee to the pocket of the hip, I can again come in and force the half guard. Let's look at this one more time. Just do it. Just
Ready to go?
yeah.
Here we go.
Smash pass, thank you. I come in, I hit the smash pass. Now, I want to smash this leg. As I come in and try to smash it, Ant forces that leg to straighten, boom, and he starts to go through. And it could very well, I could end up on half guard on this side. Or as I come through, maybe he kicks it all the way underneath my leg, boom. And now I cover and I end up on half guard on this side. The idea is that we're coming in to smash the hips, he starts freeing a leg, and we find our way into the half guard position. We can do this from the leg drag. Same idea. I'm here. Now from here, as he's gonna frame, he's gonna shift, turn his hips into me, he's gonna frame, yep, just like so. From here I can step my right leg over, drive in, and we end up in the half guard. There's a number of ways you can end up in the half guard position, okay? So many different ways that we can step our knee over his knee to the pocket of his hip, and we force our way into the half guard position, which is an incredibly strong guard passing position. Another way we can get there is using body lock passing. This one's a little bit different. We haven't studied body lock passing much, so we'll go over this in a little bit more detail. So Ant is playing seated guard. As we've learned, when I approach and engage a seated opponent, I have the option of approaching from my knees so that I don't give him ashigarami attacks, because my knees are on the floor. I come in with good head position, so he doesn't get his head underneath my head. I come in grip fighting just like so, getting his hands out of the way. Now we've seen that I want to pummel my foot or my knee to the inside position. But sometimes Ant is going to stop me from doing that. So another thing I can do is I can shoot my right arm into an underhook. Here's what I'm going to do. My head goes to the shoulder for a good head position. Okay, I want to be able to use my head to push him back if I need to, and I don't want his head to get underneath me. Now, one of my arms, in this case it'll be my right arm, is going to shoot through to the pocket of the hip. My elbow, just like so, my left elbow goes inside this knee here. Now, from here, I'm going to drive into Ant, and I'm going to blade my right hip inside of his ankle. He's going to keep a good butterfly hook. And now, as I pummel my hip in, I'm going to blade my body, straightening my right leg until I get over his butterfly hook. Now from here, my left knee pins his knee, I cover, and we force our way into half guard. Let me show that one again. One thing I didn't mention with this body lock, when I shoot, if I really am interested in body lock passing, I want to grab his hip with the crook of my elbow. I don't want to reach and grab with my hand. That's going to be super weak. It's not much control. It's not going to keep me tight to him. When I come in, I want to reach with my right arm so I can lock my elbow around his hip. Now from here, this is where I step up with my left leg so I can start to drive my right hip in and blade my right hip inside of his ankle until my hip pummels inside the ankle. Now from here, I push on the knee and step over the knee. My knee gets over his knee. And we come into and force the half guard passing position. We forced half guard. Okay, so those are a lot of good methods. We can use the foot pummel and the knee pummel for body lock passing too. Let's say maybe I could get my foot in, maybe we're in here engaging. I step up. I could also come in with my underhook and body lock here. My left elbow goes inside this knee, so when Ant tries to use his right leg, he can't. And now, even though I started by stepping up with my foot, my knee eventually dropped to the floor. My left knee is going to come over and cover his knee. And we force our way into half guard using body lock passing. The reason this is called body lock passing is because of this tight waist grip around the hips. I've literally locked myself elbow deep around his body. So it's very hard for Ant to make space. That's why body lock passing can be really effective. When I start coming in, when I get this grip elbow deep here, and now Ant starts to try to push me away and make space. It's really hard for him to push me away because I'm locked in so tight to the hips. As opposed to if I'm only here, wrist deep, and he pushes me away, he can make so much distance. But again, when I'm in here, and now he goes to push me away, it's not easy. And now as he pushes me away, I can drive in, and I can force my way into the half guard. And then again, once we're in half guard, that's an incredibly strong passing position. You just don't have the details and the keys to pass from there yet, but you're going to get them soon. So start working on the skill of forcing half guard, and trust that in the coming weeks, that skill is going to pay dividends because you're going to know how to use the half guard to pass very well. Now, there are going to be some problems that you run into on your way into the half guard. It can be the upper body, you'll run into frames and such as well, but we'll cover more of that down the road. Let's talk about the first problem that you're going to run into. The first problem is going to be his legs. Knee shields and lassos. We've covered these things in the past. We're going to cover them again here very briefly. Okay? A knee shield. Hands lay down, head up to that line. So, for instance, I come in, and as I come in, this knee shield comes in my way. We've seen some ways to deal with a knee shield in the past, okay? One example might be an ankle lift, okay? Where I come in and I hook his ankle and elbow deep. Ant wants to keep his knee bent, so it's a good knee shield, but as I pull his ankle away from his butt, his leg straightens. Now I can start to come in. Now we could go into double underpassing and over underpassing like we studied in the past, or I could pummel my right arm back to the inside position, drive across, and I've forced the half guard position. And we'll look at what to do from here in the future. So that's one way to beat a knee shield using the ankle lift. We can also use what I call a knee press, where I literally just press the knee out of my way. Now you probably can't do this one-handed. You probably can't just come in here and push the knee out, okay? It's not gonna work. Legs are way stronger than arms. But we can use 2-on-1 gripping to get a mechanical advantage. So yes, his leg is twice as strong as my arms, but what if I use 2 of my arms against only 1 of his legs? So I'm in here going against the knee shield. I put one hand here, my other hand comes around, almost like an arm weave, like we did for our lower leg knee cut, and I'm gonna go here. So now as Ant holds this position, keeping his knee strong, I'm gonna use the strength of both my arms to press his knee out of my way, and now I can come in tight to the hips, and we're into half guard passing. We can use a 2-on-1 knee press coupled with a 2-on-1 wrist grip. And here's why we would do this. If I come in here with a 2-on-1 knee press and Ant uses a cross shoulder post, even when I get this knee out of my way, I can't come in. Now when I come in, Ant just moves his knee shield back, okay? Change the angle, I want to show you your head out of the way so you can see this. I take the knee out of my way, but that cross shoulder post stops me from coming in. And you can always recover. So this is one of the most difficult, challenging defenses to deal with when a person knows how to combine and use their top leg and their top arm together in unison by connecting knee and elbow, making this V-frame, and controlling my top shoulder here. And when I say a cross shoulder post, it certainly has the hand effect here, where the hand is on the cross shoulder. But then another thing with the cross shoulder post is he uses his elbow against my other shoulder. So when I try to get in, he controls both shoulders. He dominates my entire shoulder line with this cross shoulder post. So this is a real pain in the butt. So one good way that I can deal with the knee shield combined with a cross shoulder post is to come up here and start taking this grip away. I grab his wrist. I'm gonna put his wrist on his knee, my hand comes through like we did before, and now I have a 2-on-1 knee press, but I'm also controlling Ant's right arm. So as Ant goes to pull his right arm away, it's hard. I use the strength of my 2 arms to press his knee through. Come in. And now we're into a good half guard. So that's using the 2-on-1 knee press, okay? Top butterfly hook, I'll show that really quick. So if we're here, we can also try to do this with one hand. It's not as easy. We can pump on a butterfly hook as well. So I can come in with one hand just like so, post. I can try to pull this out of my way, and as I do, I pump with my left butterfly hook. Here. So now when I come in, I control the space between Ant's 2 knees. If Ant tries to lock his half guard, I can keep his knees apart. So that's another cool little trick, and it's really easy to pass from there. Arm here, I'm going to step out. Okay. So we saw a knee press to deal with the knee shield. Let's look at an ankle press. Same idea as I'm going to push, I'm going to physically press his ankle out of my way. Now the ankle is not really in the way, but the ankle is very closely connected to the knee. So here's what happens. I get in here, he's got that knee shield. I can take my grip on the ankle just like so. Okay? So what happens when I stretch his ankle out my way, watch what happens to the knee. The knee comes out of my way. So we're in here, he's playing knee shield. I take my hand on the ankle, I press his knee out of my way using that ankle press. If my hand on the ankle with this no-gi grip isn't strong enough, we can also use a gi grip. Let's say I come in, he's using this ankle, and I can't push. I can also take a grip on the cuff of the gi pants. So now as he tries to keep this in, what I'll do is I'll put all my weight in my left hand. He's gonna keep his knee tight. Now I push off my left hand, straightening my right arm, and I drive this knee out of my way. So I can't just be here with a bent arm. Keep your knee tight. I can't use a single arm like this. I lean so I can lock my arm straight. Now with my arm straight, it's my body weight and everything driving back in. It takes his knee out, and now I can cover the hips and get to half guard. We've seen some other options: knee bumps, center line shifts, etc. Knee shield. Another way I can do this is I can take my knee up between his two legs, and you lay your head down. Just like I take my knee up between his two legs, and then I take my knee toward the top hip, and watch how that bumps his knee shield out of my way. Once I'm back inside the knee shield, I could go through with my knee cut pass like we did before, or I can always drive myself in to the half guard position. Closely related to the knee bump is the center line shift. So in a knee bump, just my knee went back toward Ant's center line. In a center line shift, I'll move my entire body. So he's got this knee shield in my way, I'll physically stand up and I'll move, I'll walk my body back to the center. That allows me to get inside this knee shield. I'm gonna pin this knee to the floor, stepping over the knee. And now we're right back into the half guard position. Okay? An inside hip post, knee shield. Another way I could do this is by flattening this far hip. We saw that my knee bump and my center line shift flatten the far hip, which take that knee out. Another way I can flatten the far hip is just by gripping the pants and the hip here. Now, just like I did with my ankle press, hand on the floor, lock my arm out, and now I'm gonna physically drive his hip to the floor as I switch my hips in. Okay? I can also force the half guard that way. So as you see, there's a number of different ways we can beat a knee shield and force the half guard to get through the legs. Now, my opponent's top knee isn't the only thing in my way. If we can keep the knee out, oftentimes the lasso is going to come back in, and then we need to deal with the lasso. We've got a number of different good ways to deal with that. We could smash the lasso into a smash pass. So as I come in, maybe I do a good job of keeping the knee out, so he brings his foot over. Exactly. Now I don't want him to grip my sleeve. I want to keep this as an unsupported lasso. So when I'm here and he goes over, I don't want to sit here with my arm here, because now he's going to have time to fix up a grip, and now this is going to complicate things. So I'm here, he starts putting that lasso over. Another thing I can do is I just shove and stuff the knee and force a smash pass position. And now from the smash pass, you guys have seen how to pass from there. Another thing I can do with the lasso is I can just move it out of my way. I come in, I keep the knee shield up, the lasso comes in. I can just take the lasso and push it out. And now what do we have? A knee shield. And we know how to deal with a knee shield. We just spent several minutes talking about how to deal with a knee shield. So for instance, I could go with a knee bump, take that knee shield out, and force my way into half guard. Okay. Some other ways to deal with a lasso is just to not let it come in. If I'm here and he tries to bring that lasso in, I bring my head and my shoulder low. We've seen that before. With a shoulder pummel, he tries to pummel his ankle inside. I pummel my shoulder inside. I never let that ankle come in. Okay. Another thing is if let's say the foot does come over, I try to shoulder pummel, it doesn't work. I saw we could do a smash pass. We'd also do a leg drag if I pummel to the other side. If I'm here and I pummel my left leg behind and I work to this side, I come into the flank position. Okay. So use your creativity Try to find ways to connect some of our favorite guard passing positions together. Okay, the split squat, the plow, the stack position, the over-under pass, the flank, the smash. When you get into a knee shield, you got to have ways to get through the knee shield, either moving the knee shield out of your way, or you can move yourselves around the knee shield, which isn't going into half guard, but is also a great way to deal with it. If you think back to things like the lower leg knee cup and the long step pass. Okay. So again, forcing half guard, an incredibly strong way to pass your opponent's guard. If you can get through the feet and through the knees and pin your opponent's hips, you're well on your way to getting chest-to-chest pressure, launching an attack to control your opponent's head, and then extracting your knee and ankle and passing guard from there. Thanks for watching, guys.